Hey everybody, good evening. It is Sunday. How was everybody tonight? I hope you guys had a good weekend. It was definitely. I'm just doing something real quick. It was definitely weird this morning. I woke up this morning to it snowing again here at the homestead, and I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me? I've had enough." But it was just a light snow. We maybe got an inch, and then it stopped, and then actually the sun did come out, but I had to go out and clean off the solar panels again. So yeah, a lot of fun. But I think we hit maybe 36 today here at the homestead. So the weather's definitely changing this week. Is all going to be in the 40s, I think, is what they're calling high 30s, low 40s. So not going to be a bad week. It'll actually be a good week to finally start getting outside and getting some stuff done. So look for progress here this week at the homestead, and it'll be on video, I promise. So anyway, hey, from Syracuse. Hey, Syracuse, how you doing? Uh, all right, so let me go over a couple things real quick before we get jumping into everything. Again, I always ask everybody to please be respectful to each other. Please be kind. If you are not, I have my moderators that watch everything, and they will boot you and kick you out of the chat because it's not nonsense is not going to be tolerated. So I have some great moderators that keep an eye on things, and I appreciate them. So I just want to acknowledge them real quick. I got actually four different people that watch the chat for me, and I appreciate it big time what they do. So anyway, again, when I get done talking, if you have a question, please all cap locks because it stands out to me more as I'm going through stuff. So let's get into the talk then for today. We're talking about a pandemic. What would happen if there's a pandemic and what you should do? Okay. So first of all, if there was a pandemic, the way it would start is you wouldn't really realize that it was a pandemic at first, and then it would slowly, all of a sudden, you would realize pretty quickly because you would have. I'm just adjusting that. It would quickly turn into the hospitals would be jam packed full of people. Okay, and so your loved one or somebody has some kind of a virus that's going around, and so let's go over it. So first of all, the hospitals would be completely jammed. It would be complete and utter chaos. Because everybody that has somebody that's sick, especially if it's something really, really deadly, they're going to get their loved one to a hospital and try to get them help. And so is everybody else. So realistically, the last place you're going to want to be is in a hospital. Okay. Because number one, your loved one has that sickness, and so does everybody else in that facility, which is just going to make it a huge germ factory. So it would be a really, really horrible thing in that facility. And the last thing you're going to want to be is around a whole bunch of people that have this contagious disease that's spreading around to everybody. So putting yourself in that type of situation is not a smart idea at all. Okay, so how do we deal with a pandemic situation? And we're going to go from the bug out location and everything on this. Okay, so first of all, what you're going to want to do is if you realize that your loved one is sick, and let's say let's say you have a family of five and two people in your household have this whatever pandemic that's going around, and the rest of you are okay at this point. You're going to want to isolate those people. You're going to want to use isolation precautions on them. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So you're going to want to separate them and say they're going to be not in the main building. They're going to be in a separate building if you have that opportunity to be able to do that. Or if depending on the time of year, if you have some kind of a tent that you can set up or something separate from somebody else, because you don't want that disease to spread through everybody in your family. Okay. The second thing with that, what you're going to want to do is proper hygiene, making sure you're washing up when you're going to take care of those loved ones. You're going to want to make sure you have some kind of a mask on, and a mask even to cover your eyes. So like if they're coughing and spewing stuff out, that's not going to get into your face. Okay, so you're going to want to use precautions. You're going to want to wear gloves when you're handling them. Anything that you're handling with sheets and towels, whatever, that's all got to be cleaned completely separately, and those type of things. So that would be the immediate thing. Now, let's say you have a group that you're, part of, and your group is coming, okay? And let's say a group of five people from your group. Let's say your group is going to be five other people. Let's just use that as a number just because why not? So here comes this group of these five people that are part of your bug out family, if you will, okay? they all seem fine, but you don't know if they're fine or not. So you're going to want to do, again, another isolation area for about 2 weeks to make sure that those people are not sick. So if they go into isolation for that 2 weeks, and so again, people still got to wash up, they still got to be fed, they still got to be taken care of. So somebody's going to have to do that, okay? So the people that are not sick are going to have to take care of those people that are sick. So you're going to want to use extreme precautions to make sure everybody's okay. As little contact as you possibly can. So, again, if somebody's in bed and they're throwing up and they're having diarrhea or whatever else is going on, mucus and whatever else is happening, there's probably going to be a lot of contact needed to take care of somebody in that state. Okay, so those things need to be taken into consideration. And again, I'm talking, if you can gown up, if you can have a full gown, if you have a CNBC suit, something like that, you know what I mean? Something you can put on completely to cover yourself up, So those are things that people, and it's another thing that people really don't talk about now. It's like everybody always wants to talk about Band-Aids, beans, and bullets, okay? But there's a lot more to it when it comes to that type of a situation. So you really want to protect yourself as much as you can. If somebody is sick in your group, you definitely have to isolate them. And realistically, what you're going to want to try to do is, let's say you have, from the initial outbreak happens, you got your family of 5, maybe 2 of your family members are sick, okay? You're going to isolate those 2 family members. You're only going to have one person going in and out to take care of them. Not everybody in your group you're not going to want everybody going in there or taking turns or that type of stuff. You want one person to go in there to deal with them because you don't want that chance for that infection to spread, okay? So that's something to think about too, okay? That's, there's so many different things. I mean, you look at the Black Death back in the day, okay? How did that get spread? Well, it got spread by rats. It was the fleas on the rats that came and jumped off and were biting people, and it killed most of Europe back then because they didn't know what they were dealing with and how to deal with it, okay? So, we have much more awareness now, but people that, that's not the priority. It's not on a priority list that when people are thinking about that. So it's really something that we need to think about because that is a huge possibility because of the number of people that we have on the planet right now, how fast something would spread, because of the contact of, look at all the planes that are flying in the air every day and people going in and out of different countries. All it takes is that one person from ground zero to spread something over the entire country, the entire world, really, really quickly. And, places that aren't prepared, you're going to have a lot higher death toll. Now, luckily in America, we have a lot more people that be able to know how to do stuff. But now think about this, in any hospital, let's say a major hospital in your city, they may be set up for 5 or 6 people to do extreme isolation precautions on, maybe as much as 20 beds if you're lucky. But it's generally not going to be that because you got to think about this. If I'm a hospital and I'm an administrator, empty beds cost me money. So they're probably going to have a small area, maybe 5, maybe 6 beds that are going to be the isolation area, and the rest of the hospital is going to be normal. So now, in this type of a pandemic situation, you're talking about a huge number of people coming in there. They're not going to be prepared for that. They're really, really not. You're obviously everybody's first thought is we're going to go to the hospital. But again, that's going to be the last place you guys are going to want to go. It really, really is. Your chances of survival in that type of situation is to take care of that loved one at home if you can. Now, if it's something that has a high death rate, you are going to want to dispose of the bodies as quickly as possible and as safely as possible. I mean, it sounds horrible, but if you have some kind of really contagious disease, especially if it's airborne, you just really have to take care of that situation really, really quickly. Now, in that type of situation, I would not burn the body. That body's got to be buried in a situation like that. So there's a lot of things that go with it. But those are things I want you guys to think about. So I want you guys that are my preppers out there, everybody, we're all preppers. How ready are you for that type of a situation? What kind of gear do you have? What kind of mask do you have? And I'm not just talking about the mask that covers here, guys. I'm talking something that's going to cover, like with a shield, to cover your eyes, those type of masks. Or do you have, like, I mean, a gas mask could be used in that situation where, you go into that room and you have that gas mask on. But you got to remember, now you come out of that room. Hey, Mountain Girl, thank you very much, hon. I very much appreciate it. Very nice of you. Thank you for the donation. When you come out of that room, all that gear that you have on has to come off and it has to be cleaned. You don't take it. You don't come out of that isolated area and then walk into your main house. You come out of that isolated area. You have another area, which is your gear up area. You get all that stuff off and you kind of clean it and make sure that it's all scored away. So you're talking about alcohol prep pads, having sterile stuff ready to go, and whatever you've used, like if you have a suit that you can change out of into another suit, have clean ones. So you want to make sure you have enough stuff that you can change out, even if it means taking that stuff that you've used the first time and burning it and get rid of it. Okay. Well, you wouldn't want to burn it. You wouldn't want to burn it. So, but that's what I'm talking about. You're going to want to really wash that in really, really hot water, and get that cleaned up, and any tools and stuff that you're using, because like I said, the spread of infection can happen really, really fast. Even today, modern day, right now, in a normal hospital, MRSA and everything else spreads like crazy in a hospital. I mean, if you are sick, the last place you want to be is in that hospital. When I had my surgery, and I'm just going to use this as an example, when I had my surgery, it'll be actually 4 years in July that I had my cancer surgery. I walked into the hospital, had my surgery that night, woke up at 10 o'clock at night after my surgery. I told them at midnight I want to get up and walk because I was going home in the morning. And they were like, what? I said, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk. The sooner you can get on your feet and get that circulation going, the better it can be for you. I walked out of that hospital at 9 o'clock the next morning and, checked myself out. And they had wanted me to stay an extra day, and I told them no, that I wanted to go home because I knew my better chances of recovery would be at home instead of in a germ-infested hospital. So, and I dealt with Strong Memorial Hospital in Rochester, and they were absolutely awesome. I'm going to put that out there. The doctor was awesome. The nurses were great. It was absolutely fantastic, but it was pretty wild. So anyway, in yesterday's chat, I was saying how it was St. Patrick's Day, and I know today is St. Patrick's Day, okay? So please excuse that. I was thinking because everybody was going to go out and party last night because of St. Patrick's Day. And people are going to go out and party today as well. I mean, but most people have to get up Monday morning and go to work. So I was thinking the major parties were going to be last night. So that's kind of where I was at when I said that yesterday. So please excuse that. Hey, go to the hospital to get sick. It happens all the time. You are absolutely right. That is so true. Any infected bodies need to be buried at least 7 feet down. JJ Biggs just said that. Yeah, if somebody's infected and they die, you got to get it. You got to dig a deep hole for them. You definitely do not want contamination. You're speaking the truth on that. My wife is a nurse. Okay, well, thank you, Derek. Yeah, like I said, I'm a nurse too. So, I mean, I do know what I'm talking about. Disease can spread really, really fast, Can you die in a hospital? It happens every day. People die in the hospital every day. Infections, they go in for one thing, they get some kind of other infection. You got to remember, guys, diseases and different things are always fighting against the antibiotics, and they get stronger and they get more resistant. So, it's a no-win situation. Like I said, the last place you're going to want to be in that situation, in a pandemic type of situation, is in the hospital. Even though your loved one may die, they may die anyway. It's better to try to take care of them at home if you can. And again, if you can isolate them, into an outbuilding somewhere, that is definitely, staph infections are the most common in hospital. JJ Biggs just said that. Exactly. And they happen all the time. And there's new strains that are becoming resistant to antibiotics. So that's really, really scary too. Diseases will be a bioweapon. Yeah, absolutely. They can be used as a weapon. Hey, thank you very much for the donation. Thanks for your job. You do make a difference. Do you have a Patreon account? I do not have Patreon. I've been told that I should do it, but I haven't done it yet. And again, thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that. Uh, Important question. What is your opinion on immunizations? Okay, immunizations, I think some of them are very good to have. There's a lot of stuff that are definitely good. The way that they jam them all together and give like mass doses of different things all at once, I don't think that that's good. If you want to have your child immunized from different things, I mean, like the last thing you're going to want to do is have your child get polio or, those type of things. So I would say, and again, this is an individual choice. If you're going to get your child immunized, they can spread it out longer. You can say, okay, well, I want this and this right now, and then come back in 2 months, 3 months, and work on the rest of it. There's nothing stating that you have to, if you have to get your child immunized, that you have to do it on the schedule that they say. There's a lot of crap in immunizations, guys. A lot of crap in immunizations. So, I mean, do the research. Uh, you know, Again, like a lot of times, like I'm going to show, I don't know if you guys can be able to see this or not. Let me see if I can. I'm going to show you. Okay, yeah, you see right here? I was born in 1965. That's the gun, still the scar from the gun, from my people, from my generation that we grew up. Everybody's got that scar because we got that shot, and it was a gun that they hit you with, and it left a scar, a permanent scar, on your body. So, I mean, I don't remember exactly when they did it or how old I was, but I was very, very young. And anybody that was born I think they stopped it. I think they stopped it in like '68 or '69. They stopped doing that. But now, like when I was a child, there was only a certain amount of shots that they were giving you. I believe it was like maybe 12. I believe. It's like now it's like 35 or something, some crazy number like that, and they're always adding more stuff. If you look at the different stuff that is in those shots, it's kind of scary, you know. Yeah, James said born in 1955 got the same scar. Yeah, anybody in my generation that when we grew up, that we all have that scar. We share that. That's forever. So we all kind of can date ourselves. That was the polio vaccine, wasn't it? I'm not sure. Oh, you're talking about the guns and the Air Force training. I'm going to tell you what. Talk about 19. Let's see what we got here. Thank you, CDC. In home, it's easier. Thank you and thank you for the donation. Yeah, you're right. It's very important. Taking care of people. At home if you can. But talking about the shots in the military, I went into the military in 1984 right out of high school, and I stood in a line, and they had one person on this side and they had one person on that side, and they hit you on both arms at the same time with these guns, and I have absolutely no idea what they were giving us. So we got it from both sides, and then you had the gauze and you held the gauze on your arms like this. So I was walking away, and my drill instructor says, "Carswell, stop." And I go, "What?" And he took my gauze, and I had blood running down my arm. And he took the gauze and he wiped it up and put it back up. And he goes, "Okay, go ahead." So, but yeah, they hit us even back in '84, and I'm sure they still do it to the guys today. And you have no idea what's in there. So, Section 13 is removed from vaccine inserts. Yeah, but like I said, it's like as far as shots go, again, it's going to be an individual choice if you want to get your child immunized or not. If you're planning on homeschooling your child, you know, again, it's a personal decision. There, you have to weigh the pros and the cons. So I think certain things that they should get, okay. But again, if you space it out more, give that child a chance. If you look at the timetable, how they do it, and how young that baby is, and they're giving them babies the shots, it's kind of scary. It's definitely scary, and there's a lot of crazy stuff. There's videos out there, guys, and they were talking to one of the guys that's the head of the vaccinations, and the stuff that they put in these shots is crazy. And all the different stuff that can happen because of the shots. I'm not a big fan of them, to be honest with you. If I had another child at this point in my life, there's certain things that I would allow them to get, and certain things I would say no. And that's me. Okay, so we pretty much have wiped out a lot of the stuff, and now of course you have this stream of illegals coming into our country, and they're not all inoculated with all kinds of different stuff. So they're bringing in all kinds of these diseases that we pretty much have wiped out here in the United States. So I mean, again, it's an individual choice, so you have to do that. Other things we should store? Plastic tape. Yeah, okay. Good question. For making an isolation area, okay, if you don't have an outbuilding, let's say, and even if you do have an outbuilding and you want to make an isolation area in that building, you're going to want to make sure, if you can do it, guys, big plastic, get the heavy plastic sheets that you can put up in that room, tape it off. When I'm saying isolation, I'm talking isolation like you would walk into the door, you'll have an area, and then you have to go through that area to get into the area where that person that's being isolated is. You really want to try to make that as secure as you possibly can. Now, if you want to try to have some ventilation for air, you can do that, but you're going to want to have some kind of pipes that are going up, away, so that if it's airborne situation with that, again, it's a tough call, but you're going to want to have the tape, or even duct tape. Duct tape is the best. Okay, I mean that stuff is awesome. I always keep at least 3-4 rolls of duct tape around at all time, and I like the black duct tape. That's a heavy duty. The Gorilla tape. That's the best stuff, man. That stuff is awesome. And Measles started to add turmeric paste to my diet. Oh no, he said he started adding that to his diet. Yeah, so measles offer natural lifelong immunity. Yeah, like I said, when I was a kid, guys, if when somebody got the measles, okay, because I've had the measles and the mumps, okay, I've had them both. When your kid got the measles, what they did back in the day when I was growing up, they brought all the kids in the neighborhood to play with Johnny, who had the measles, so that they all got the measles. Okay, it was easier to deal with the measles as a child than it was as an adult. If you'd never had the measles and then you became an adult and got the measles, it's a lot worse to have it then. And yeah, measles parties and chickenpox parties, exactly. And so that's what they did back then. And it was because they wanted to have their kid make sure that they got it and got it out of the way. And it sucks, and it's not a whole lot of fun, but it's done. And like you said, it's building up that natural immunity. Okay, so those are things to think about too. I mean, that we're going to go back to a lot of old ways after SHTF. Can I talk about universal precautions? Universal precautions, guys, is basically when you're dealing with somebody that's sick, is if you have, universal precautions is acting as though everybody has the disease. That's universal precautions. You're using the same precautions on everybody. So what am I talking about with that? Okay, I'm going to use a nursing home as an example, and I'm going to use AIDS as an example. AIDS is highly contagious through blood and semen. Okay, so when you're in a nursing home, you deal with a lot of blood, bodily fluids, and that type of stuff. So you treat every person that you take care of like they have AIDS. So what do I mean by that? So every person that I'm going to deal with I'm going to wear gloves. I'm always going to wear gloves with every person. When I'm done dealing with that person, I'm going to take those gloves off and I'm going to do a good hand washing thing to protect myself. That's what universal precautions are. You're going to act like everybody has that same type of disease when interacting with people. If there's some kind of major pandemic going, that's the way you would want to handle everybody. Okay, so having a lot of gloves on hand is not a bad thing. You're going to want your mediums. Probably not going to go with small, but you're going to want to go with like medium and large gloves. Because most women are going to wear medium, most guys are going to wear large. That's just the way it is as far as gloves go. So, again, when you're handling anything like that, if there's that kind of a sickness going on, you're going to want to be very, very careful with everybody, even if they're not showing signs or symptoms. Okay, so that's something to think about. And again, if you have that, quarantined area, the isolation room, if you will. Okay, people are coming in, they want that are part of your group, and they're like, well, I'm not sick, I'm fine. But you don't know that there's an incubation period with any kind of sickness. So you have to keep them isolated and separated. They can take care of themselves. And if somebody ends up showing signs of sickness, they go right into the isolation area. Okay. So again, you're going to have a 2-week period where nobody is sick, nobody's showing signs or symptoms. Then the rest of those people can join your group. But you're going to have to think about the safety of everybody, not just the person that's sick. The person that's sick that need to be taken care of. Okay. But yeah, it's just it's a scary situation, and it's something that you really got to think about. You're going to want to, like I said, you're going to want to do really good hand washing. Taking care of those whatever clothes that you're wearing when you take care of that person. So like if you can have gowns, okay, and they're not like hugely expensive. Do you know a way to avoid centipedes from a person's body? I'm not sure what you mean by that question. How many theories for HIV origin? We're going to talk about HIV real quick. Okay, let's think about the fact that HIV hit in 2 places in the United States first. Let's think about this for a second. HIV, in my opinion, was man-made, and I'm going to tell you why. So what 2 communities did HIV start with? Okay, it started in San Francisco, and it started in New York City in the gay communities. Okay, they were looking to get rid of your minorities, your intravenous drug users. They were looking to get rid of your homosexuals. So that was what was going on with that. That's where those 2 places it started in the United States. I don't think they realized that it was going to affect hemophiliacs. Again, they were I think it was a man-made thing, in my opinion, that was released to get rid of people that they did not want. So your intravenous drug users, you had a huge death toll in intravenous drug users. You had a huge death toll in the homosexual population. I had a cousin that lived in Florida, and his name was Kenny, and he was into real estate, and he sold real estate and stuff like that. And he was with the same partner forever, and somebody cheated on somebody, and they both ended up getting AIDS, and they both died. And he was one of the nicest people you ever wanted to meet in the world. But back in that time frame, in the early '80s and stuff like that, in the late '70s, early '80s, if you got AIDS, it was a death sentence. I mean, look at Freddie Mercury, guys. I mean, if it was killing the rich as well, Rock Hudson, I think, also died of AIDS. So Liberace, another one, he died of AIDS. So you're talking about people with a lot of money that didn't save them. Now, if you get it now, there's a lot of treatments, and you can live with it for years and years and years because they have the different cocktails of drugs and stuff like that. But think about that again, okay? Now you have AIDS. You are forced to take this cocktail of drugs to survive. And who are you going to get that cocktail of drugs from? Oh, that's right, the pharmaceutical companies. So, think about that, okay? Somebody's saying that they have vaccines for AIDS. Not that I'm aware of. I don't believe so. Did you see the collapse of the Spencer Dome due to the weather warfare modification? I did not see that, Stace. I did not see that at all. Recently read there's 7,000 diseases and only about 500 cures. What do you say? That's scary. That is very scary. There's a lot of stuff out there, guys, that can kill you. Being safe, again, going back to the topic of a pandemic, being as safe as you possibly can be is definitely the smart way to do it. Use universal precautions. Act like everybody's infected. Have basically 1 or 2 people, depending on how big your group is, assigned to go in to take care of those people. But it has to be somebody that knows what they're doing as far as precautions goes. So, you definitely want to make sure you're protecting your eyes. If that person's coughing and spewing stuff out, you're going to protect your mouth. So, if you can, wear that gas mask to go in there for that. And then as soon as you come out, you're going to take that gas mask and you're going to rub the whole thing down while you still have your precautions on with an alcohol prep pad, and those type of things. So you're looking at alcohol prep pads. You're looking at having iodine. You're looking at making sure you have lots of plastic, lots of tape to be able to tape up a room and to keep it separated. Extra sheets, extra bedding, because those people are not going to be in the main area. You can't, because then they're going to just make everybody else sick. So, and depending on how long the course of the sickness runs, some people are going to get sick and they're going to make it. and some people are going to get sick and they're not. Again, it's like usually like we'll go with the flu. Who does the flu usually kill? It kills the very young and it kills the very old. So those are the things that are going to be the things that you really want to be concerned about. Okay, because of that, that type of thing. That you're looking at when the flu's killing a healthy 22, 23-year-old man. That's the time to really, really worry. Okay, really, really worry. Look at the word disease. It's not ease. Yeah, right. Exactly. They want you to die is what they want. That's what Again, it's would it be safe to store food in a tornado shelter like canned foods? Absolutely, absolutely, it would be. That's a great spot to do it. That's a great spot to do it. Uh, when I'm thinking about it here, guys, I want to mention this real quick because I try to throw this in here. On the website, we have preppernurse1.com. We have the Prepper PN1 community. Okay, if you go in there and you register, you can hook together with like-minded people and talk with people that have the same ideas. Hopefully, are from the same state that you are. We have all 50 states. We have Puerto Rico. We have Canada. We have Great Britain, Australia, Germany, Sweden. All the different things. If you want your country added, please. We've added South Africa because somebody asked that, and Spain was added as well. So it's a great place to talk with like-minded people. If you're looking to try to form a group, it's another way to try to hook and talk with people that are like-minded to form groups in your state and stuff like that. So, those are things to think about, okay? The other thing I wanted to mention, through Friday of this week, Legacy Foods on my website, everything is 20% off. So you can save 20% on everything. And then they also have another special with a 183 meal package. You don't have to contact us that anymore for that. You can just go ahead and order it right on the website. That's a 40% saving on that one. It's normally $380. Right now it's on sale for $229, and it's a great opportunity to save, like I said, almost 40% on that. Well, it's a 183 meal sampler package. Okay, so if you're looking to try to save on that, to add to your long-term storage with everything else that you have, it's a great time to take advantage of that. So preppernurse1.com, go on over there, check stuff out. Again, if you haven't joined the community already, we've had a lot of people join, and it's a great way for people to interact, like-minded people that are not going to think that you're crazy. So that's a really nice thing with that, guys. So I just wanted to put that out there while I was thinking about it. So, but let's see, what do we got here? All right, guys, throw me some questions here. I'm sorry, I get rambling, and a lot of times beef jerky, a good food supply? Absolutely, Dale. Dale James just asked that question. It's a great food supply. You're going to want to make sure you got plenty of water if you're dealing with beef jerky because of all the salt. But great to have. Storage really, really easy. Hey, Lisa Smith, thank you very much, hon, for the donation. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Peace to all preppers. The more we are, the better. Great comment, Supermom, or I think it was Superman or Superman 1000. The more of us that are out there, guys, is the less people coming after our stuff. So the more people we can wake up to get us, get us going. The more people we can wake up, that's that much less of a threat. If you can, being able to form groups is the ideal thing to do. And I know some people are really, really against groups, but it's the smartest way to survive after an SHTF event. Anything major that's going to happen worldwide or countrywide, the more people that you have, top 10 to have to save for an outbreak. Thomas Turner just asked that question. We'll talk about that in just 1 second. But yeah, the more you can have in a group, the safer you're going to be. There's always safety in numbers, guys. There really are. And the more people that take care of the daily needs that are going to be having to be taken care of after an SHTF event, life will change. What about having a ventilator on hand? LZ Boy said that. If you don't have a source to have power, a ventilator is not going to do you any good. That's reality. Trying to keep somebody alive on a ventilator after an SHTF event is going to be very, very difficult. It's going to take a lot of power. You're going to have a lot of equipment that's got to be cleaned, tubing, all kinds of stuff. You're going to be having to deal with suctioning. It would be very, very difficult. That person's chances of survival long term are not good at all. Remember, C. diff needs soap and water Alcohol not effective. Again, great comment, Robert. Again, proper hand washing. You're going to want to make sure that you're really scrubbing down well after dealing with people in the isolation area. If there's a pandemic going on. So Thomas Turner had asked about the top 10 things that you should have. Okay. There's a pandemic. My advice would be, if I'm trying to think top 10, first of all, you're going to want to have masks that are going to be able to not only cover your mouth, but also your eyes. So if you can get the ones with the plastic shield, that's great. If you want to use like a gas mask so that you're absolutely sealed in, that's even better. Okay. So that would be number one. Gowns for sure. They're not that super expensive. You can pick them up, and it's like basically one size fits all. And they have the kind that like goes to the wrist. So I would have them if you can get them. Get them in bulk if you can get them, because it's going to be cheaper. Gloves, lots and lots of gloves, and I'm talking the plastic gloves, guys. Okay. If you have a latex allergy and you know that, you're going to want to have those type of gloves. So that's, there's another thing to have. Like I said, you're going to want to make sure that you have plastic. You're going to want to make sure that you have the duct tape to be able to make that isolation room. You're going to want to make sure that you have plenty of soap. You're going to want to make sure you have plenty of bedding and linen. You're going to want to make sure that you have plenty of, if for a suction thing, there's suction tubings that you can use like a bulb syringe. If somebody's having issues breathing, you can use that bulb syringe. It's like a turkey baster. You know what I'm talking about? They have those bulb syringes that you can use to try to help clear that crap out of somebody. Okay, those are things I want you to think about. So there's a lot to it. Getting ready medically can get really, really expensive, because when you get your brain rolling and you start thinking of different things, again, those are things that you're going to want to have. Now, here's another thing you probably didn't think about. They have the things that you can put over your shoes, okay, like little booties that go over your shoes. Again, if it is an airborne pathogen, it's going to be everywhere in that isolation area. So you're going to want to use extreme caution. You're going to want to have plenty of hot water on hand for scrubbing down afterwards. And, and again, in taking care of these people. If you have somebody that's really, really sick and they're throwing up and they have diarrhea and they're having all these kind of issues, because we don't know what level of sickness this person is going to have. They're probably going to be bedridden. Okay. So you're going to want to make sure that you can have those clean sheets and be able to clean them up. So you're going to want to have a lot of towels on hand. You're going to want to have a lot of washcloths on hand. So, filtered air for the room. Yeah, if you can do it. But I mean, exactly. I mean, who of us can set up a filtered room realistically? I mean, that's something to think about. But it's definitely a great idea if you can do it. I mean, if you can have fresh air coming in to circulate and getting rid of the other air. But again, if you're talking about an airborne disease, you don't want to push that air back out where it can affect other people. So again, it's something to think about. It's really, really, it's scary. It really, really is scary when you think about it. But if you work on things methodically, you think things through, again, limit the number of people that are going to go in there and take care of the truly sick people. Depending on the size of your group. If you got 10 people sick, one person is not going to really be able to take care of 10 people well, because you're going to have everybody's going to want something. So if you have 10 people that are sick, I would recommend having at least 2 people that know what they're doing and, and do that. But like I said, protect yourselves. That's the biggest thing, because the last thing, if everybody else gets sick, it would not be good. Why is everyone so tired all the time? Kentucky Roads just asked that. I'm going to tell you what, that's a seasonal thing. I'll be honest with you. I really do believe that. I know that up here in the north we have seasonal affect disorder, they call it, and it's not a BS thing. It's a really, really real thing. Okay, and the lack of sunshine and overcast over and over and over. Like we always joke around. If we have a sunny day in the middle of winter, I'll go to people. I'll go, hey, wait a minute. What's that? What's that orange thing in the sky? Because literally, we can go 6 weeks and never see sunshine up here. It's just the way it is. Like now, today was even though it was cooler today, and the snow was snowing this morning. And once the snow stopped and that sun came out, it was awesome. It was really, really nice to be out in that. AKA cabin fever. Exactly. I'm always tired because I missed that. I'm sorry. Illinois has two seasons, winter and road construction. Yeah, exactly. That's like New York too, and they do a crappy job on the road construction. I can tell you that. Oh, same in the UK. My family's always tired. Yeah, Gary. You guys deal with a lot of rain and stuff like that. It gets really, really depressing. We need that sunshine. We need that. I mean, it's like I can remember when I moved to North Carolina after I got out of the service, and I was 27 years old at the time. And they don't call it Carolina blue for nothing. I mean, the clear blue skies is absolutely beautiful. So yeah, it's definitely tough. It's definitely tough. Let's see. Cancer, cell phone radiation, killer vaccines erect. Yeah, Superman 10,000 just said that. Yeah, it's like it's just like right now, okay, and a lot of people are into it, and I'm going to talk about it, and even my IT guy Mike's into it, but I still like vaping. Everybody's into vaping now. Well, I'm not smoking, I'm vaping. Vaping makes me nervous because down the road, I think we're going to find out. I mean, they've already talked about popcorn lung with it, okay? But with the vaping, anytime you're taking anything into your lungs, guys, I don't care what it is, it's not good for you, and that's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong with that, but I don't have a lot of trust in anybody that's making something that is addictive or whatnot, and those type of things. And people are really into this whole vaping things right now. Let's see. NPO5 mask filter 90% of particles. Yeah, exactly. That's definitely the way to do it. Definitely the way to do it. Yeah, having O2 again. There's another thing to have on hand would be, canisters of oxygen. But again, once you've used that up, what are you going to do with that? Unless you have a way to refill those canisters, you're done. Once it's gone, it's done. And so, that's something to definitely think about. And somebody had said having a ventilator for somebody that has that flu. Again, there's a lot more to it when somebody's on a ventilator. You're cutting right here into their throat, guys. Okay, or you can have the kind that goes in the mouth, and you have to put that tube down there. But unless you know how to do it, know what you're doing, you can do a lot more damage a lot of times. So when you're intubating somebody, like I said, the most right here in your throat, that's normally where they do it. So they'll cut that hole there and put that right there so it's easier, so it completely bypasses. But they do have the ones that you can put in the mouth and the tube goes down, and you can do that as well. But again, you're talking about an extreme situation. Unless you have people that are highly trained, that know what they're doing, that is going to be a very difficult thing to pull off for the layman, if you will, somebody that's not trained to do that. Yeah, give us a how-to introduction to emergency trach. Yeah, it's like I said, that's no joke, Yeah, Gene Bear just said, "Yeah, my son has a trach." Yeah, it's there's definitely a lot to it. And stomach care is so intense. Exactly, great comment. Very, very good comment. Let's see. Caring for the sick people in the group should be kept isolated from the group as well. Yeah, exactly. Oh, people caring for the sick in your group. Good or good statement there, Wisconsin Prepper. You're right. If you can't. How much room do you have? So how many areas can you isolate people realistically? So I mean, if you are using proper techniques, the person that's caring for those people should be fine. If you're breaking protocol, if you will, and not gearing up properly, not doing what you should be doing, then you're risking everybody else in the group. But realistically, if you have to, well, you know what? Yeah, Robert, first episode of Jericho, they did it with a ballpoint pen, yeah, and a pocket knife. Yeah, and you're looking at a high risk of infection and death with that too. So, and it's TV. Real life and TV are totally different. It's not that easy. TV makes it look really easy. Where in the neck do you poke in an emergency? Okay, I'm going to lift up here. Here's my neck. Right there, when you feel that soft spot, guys, right here in your throat, like if got your neck and you got got your collarbone, right here in that soft spot, right here, that would be the spot. If you absolutely had to do it, hopefully you wouldn't have to. What do you do if you get bit by a rabid animal? Well, obviously now they have the shots that you can get to deal with that. After SHTF, guys, how would you quarantine a room? Okay, Isaiah, I'll get to that in just a second. But after SHTF, you better hope to God you don't get bit by a rabid animal, because you're dead. If you do, you're gonna go through that process and have a lot of problems yourself, and then you're gonna die from that. So obviously, if an animal's acting weird and you're seeing this animal acting weird after a post event, you need to put that animal down as quickly as you possibly can. Okay, so uh, you know so isolating a room. We kind of went over that a little bit before, but we'll do it again. You're going to want to have things in that room that are just for that room. The towels, the sheets, the washcloths, everything. Eddie, sorry. Um, so you're going to want to have those type of things in there. You're going to want to make sure you take that room and plastic it off. Totally seal that room up if you can, because if it's an airborne sickness, if it's an airborne pandemic, you're going to want to keep everything contained as much as you possibly can. So having large rolls of plastic, which realistically, if you get those now, they're not that expensive. Hey, Bubba.
Do you know where Abel is?
I do not know where Abel is. I'm sorry. But you're going to want to. Did you look up over where we keep the paper towels, Eddie? He likes to hang up there. Sorry, guys. But the USA has rabies, no rabies in the UK. Well, you're lucky. We got a lot bigger area. You guys are on an island, so okay. But you want to make sure you got a lot of rolls of plastic, the large sheets of plastic, because it would be a lot easier to seal that up. Make sure you have that duct tape. I like the Gorilla Tape. That's my favorite. It's the black duct tape, and it is awesome. So that would be the one that I would recommend. The heavy sheets of plastic, that you can get in a big roll. Again, not that expensive, but it'd be a really good way to have it for an isolation room after an event. Or if we had a volcanic type of situation, again, you could use that to help seal up your house as well. It's funny how we know where either our cats or dogs like to hang out. Yeah, it is. And, we have our certain cats like their certain spots. So they have their different spots that they like to hang out, which is pretty funny, actually. But they're just like children. Zombie deer. Drew, I'm going to be doing a video on that. I'm definitely going to be doing a video on that. So look for that to come down the road, because that's a whole different topic. Very interesting thing going on right. Not that it's interesting. It's not good at all. But we will. How do you get air into the sealed room? That's a good question, because it's like that's a tough call. Okay, because again, if it's an airborne type of thing, if you have something vented out, if you've got like the plastic tubing and you got it vented out going up into the air, now that's going to be being carried by the wind. So you really, first of all, your isolation room, you need it to be as far away from the main your main dwelling as you possibly can be. Again, a tent would be a good thing depending on the time of year. If you could have one of the larger tents and use that is your isolation area. But it would be very, very difficult, and again, it would depending on if that sickness was airborne. That's where as far as fresh airflow goes, that's how you would have to air that area out periodically. You would absolutely have to, people that were going to be in there. So those are it's a tough call. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer on that one, but it would be very, very tough. Would a steel shipping container work as a Faraday cage? It can, but the thing is, again, you got to make sure whatever part of it that if you have a shipping container and you want to use like the back third of it as a Faraday cage, let's say, you're going to want to have some kind of an area back there. Again, an EMP is going to go around that. So it's going to go around. You're going to want to make sure that it's grounded. You're going to want to make sure that it's going to be sealed up enough in that area that whatever's in that area is not going to be affected by that EMP, that it's going to hit that cage, if you will, and go completely around it. So you're going to want to have something on the inside of that. Just closing the outside of a shipping container, there's going to be leaks. Okay, there's going to be ways to get in there. So you're really going to want to look at, unless you're going to take a shipping container, guys, put a bunch of stuff in there, seal it up, and then really take like the aluminum foil type of stuff and seal the entire outside of that, so that it's completely contained, and not use it at all for anything else, and just put it away someplace. That would work, okay? but you're going to want to be able to probably get in and out. So if you can take part of that shipping container, make like the last third of it your holding cage, if you will, and do it that way. That way they could work that way. Let's see what we got. I do not know what zombie deer is. Help. Okay, the zombie deer. There's a disease going on around right now. A lot of deer are being affected, and like I said, I'm going to be doing a video on that. So look for that to come, and I will be talking about that soon. I promise. Preventing beats curing. You were absolutely correct. Great comment. Great comment. Yeah, precautions, guys. The biggest thing after SHTF, I mean, just normal sickness after an SHTF event is going to kill people. Normal everyday sickness is going to kill people. Okay. So, proper hand washing is going to be huge. When you're handling food, you got to make sure you're using proper hand washing techniques. Okay. Those are things you really need to think about. So those are things you're going to want to do. Hygiene is going to be a huge part of it. It really, really is after an event. Let's see. Poison like mad cow. Yeah. That's those deer that are, they're calling them the zombie deer. That I wouldn't be wanting to eat those. I would not want to be eating those at all. It's a chronic wasting disease. Yeah, zombie deer. This is what Jane just put up there. But there's a whole lot going on with that, and where did it start, and what's going on with it. Let's see. So, but like I said, guys, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I don't know, probably have heard that, but it's definitely makes a big difference. Floods in our village in the UK. Shops are all shut thanks to you at iPrep. Well, I'm glad, Gary. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. That is very, very good to hear. Again, we never know what's going to happen. Look what's going on in Nebraska right now, the flooding out there, and the crazy weather from that bomb cyclone. I mean, anytime, anywhere in the country, something is going on. It's an SHTF event for somebody. Again, SHTF, guys, doesn't have to be the end of the world, okay? It really, really doesn't. It could be something, again, that affects your family and only your family directly. Loss of a job, sickness in the family, death in the family, okay? All of a sudden, the breadwinner is gone. How do you deal with that? You know what I mean? So, how do we strengthen low immune to stay strong? Frosty Kitty just asked that question. That's a great question. Getting honey from your area. Getting honey from your area is actually going to help boost your immune system, because all the stuff that the bees are gathering, it's all stuff that is local, and that's going to help your immune system. Getting out there, staying active is really, really important as well. The more active you are, the better physical health-wise you're going to be. So that makes a difference. Exercise and walking. Walking is probably one of the best exercises. Actually, the best exercise you can do is swimming, to be honest with you, because it works more muscles in your body than anything else. But if you don't have access to a pool or water and you can't swim, then obviously that's an issue. But walking would be the next best thing. I would never recommend running. Running is really, really hard on your joints, your ankles, your knees. It's not good for you, realistically. But walking is a great, great thing. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, prepping is using common sense, as our ancestors did. Absolutely great statement again. You guys are coming up with great statements today. Really, this is awesome. Common sense, guys. Think things through. Take care of your health. Try to be healthy. Like I did the video the other day, and I had to title it a certain way, because if I had said, Remington is going to be sued because of because of the Sandy Hook thing, boy, that video would have been demonetized like that. Okay. So I was kind of creative with the title, and it was kind of making a joke out of it, because it's a joke. It is that they're able to sue for that. What else? Where's the limit then? You know what I mean? But it just, you have to think about these things, because we live in a crazy, crazy world now. Crazy world. take care of yourself, take care of your family. That's the most important thing. Superman 100,000 or 10,000 just said grow your own food. Yeah, the more stuff that you can do, that you have raised yourself, chickens, rabbits, goats, whatever you're, do it yourself. Know what that animal's had. You know what I mean? You know what they took in. Give them a good life. Pigs, another one. Get one in the spring, keep it all year, and butcher it in the fall. Now you got a tremendous amount of meat, to have. There's all kinds of ways to do things, guys. There really, really, truly is. And the better, the more organic, if you will. If you grow your own food, you know what's in that food. There's not a lot of chemicals, or there should be no chemicals if you grow it yourself. I don't use anything. People say to me, well, what do you use in your garden to make your garden grow so good? I don't use any kind of chemicals at all. It comes down to good soil. Marigolds around the garden to help keep the pests away. Makes a lot of difference. And, so that's, Mountain Girl just said, careful of cross-contamination. Yeah, that's a big thing. Tetanus shot. Somebody just talking about the tetanus shot. Again, did they have the tetanus shot 200 years ago? And people were still okay. Okay, so, I mean, is it another scare tactic to get you to take something else into your body that you don't need? Could be. I mean, again, you need to use your own discretion when it comes to shots, period, to flu shots, to, all those type of things. But if somebody told me that this potential shot I'm going to give you may have zero effect or only 10% effectiveness, I'm probably not going to get it. It's better to build up your own natural immunities to sickness. It's actually better. It sounds crazy, but it's better to go ahead and get sick, deal with that sickness. It makes your immunity stronger. When you're taking something all the time, it's suppressing your immune system. Excuse me. And, Frosty Kitties, thank you very much, hon. Thank you very, very much. That's a very nice donation. Thank you. But when you're taking something that's suppressing your immune system, that's not good for you. You need to have your natural immunities to help. It helps make you stronger, and it's going to help you survive better. Now, obviously, if it's flu season, you're going to want to be more careful. Like I said, again, with kids, with older people. Think about this. Okay, I'm going to give you a great example of something. So all my life, I have been super, super healthy. Never got sick. I used to laugh at people. Oh my God, you people are sick all the time, blah, blah, blah. Then I had my children, okay? And my children went to school, which is a freaking germ factory, okay? And I got sick so freaking much because even though our kids were clean and we made sure that they were clean, other people were sending their kids to school sick. They're passing it around. The kids come home, they give it to you. And I was sick all the freaking time. It was horrible up until they got to a certain age where, their immune systems got better. My kids have never had the flu shot. Never have, never will, as far as I'm concerned. And hopefully they don't ever do it as adults. I mean, it's, I will talk to them obviously about that as well. I will never get another flu shot. I was kind of forced to for work, but I would never plan on getting another flu shot again. So those are things that are really, really, kids are like Typhoid Mary. Robert just put that up there. You are absolutely right. It is bad. Did you see where the Venezuela water supply is contaminated with oil? I did not see that. I will have to look into that, but I had not seen that. But anyway, guys, again, if you're in certain situations, the chances of getting sick are going to be a lot greater. The isolation, especially in a pandemic situation, you are not going to want to have a lot of interaction with other people. Okay, so, your neighbors that maybe you're not being as cautious as you are, you're not going to want to have them, be part of that. You're not going to want them to say, oh, yeah, come on in, and let's have coffee and tea. And maybe they're sick and they're in that incubation period. Next thing you know, everybody's sick. So isolating yourself is going to be a great way to protect yourself. If somebody gets sick, put them in isolation until they're better. If you have people from your group coming in, make sure they're going into a quarantine area where they're not sick, but they're fine. But you leave them in that quarantine area for at least 2 weeks until they're not sick. Then they can come into the group. The people that are sick, again, I'm just kind of running over a couple things here because we're almost at the end already, which is amazing how fast this goes. The people that are sick, limit the number of people that take care of them, okay? So that's really, really important. Limit the number of people that are taking care of the sick ones and keep it to the same people, all right? So anyway, guys, again, these freaking hours, they fly by. They really, really do. A lot of great interaction. I really appreciate all you guys. I really, really do. I love the questions. I love the statements. We learn from each other. That's the important thing. I want to make sure that I reiterate that because we really do. We work together. It's a great community. I'm going to tell you what, I don't know about other channels, but I got to tell you, my channel, the people that interact on my channel, always great comments, great insight, great thoughts, and I do appreciate it. I really, really do. And you guys are awesome, and I really appreciate you. I really do. And we're pushing 70,000 subscribers on the channel now, which is absolutely amazing to me, which I never would have fathomed it. I'll be honest with you. Never would have thought about it, back when I got started with this. This is where I would be at now. But and it's all because of you guys. It really, really, truly is. It's all because of you guys. So somebody keeps saying on here, let's get more thumbs up. So yes, please, guys, give a thumbs up if you like what I'm doing. Give me that thumbs up because I appreciate it. It just it helps. Remember, guys, we are all in this together. That's important to remember, and a lot of people don't think about that and they lose sight of that. But we really, truly are all in this together. Remember, guys, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tell them every single day because we really don't ever know when our last day here is. So it's important to tell the people that you care about how you feel. It really, really is, okay? And, remember, guys, STD. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. Stay positive. Stay away from those negative people. All those negative people want to do is bring you down. That's their whole goal. They're miserable. They're unhappy. They want you to be miserable, unhappy. I always said this. It's like somebody, like if you have an ex, okay, good example. This is a great example. If you have an ex, the very best revenge that you can have against an ex, whoever that person is to live well. Because that will drive that person more crazy than anything else that you could possibly do. Saying negative stuff to them and all that type of stuff makes no difference. If you live well and are happy, that's the best revenge you could possibly have, guys. It really, truly is. On that note, I'm going to jump off of here. I will see you guys all tomorrow. I hope everybody's had a really safe weekend. Be safe tonight, guys, okay? If you're going to be out partying, please be safe. And have a good night. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Prepper Nurse 1, out for now.